Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kalen, and we are back in at another video. And this video is not about zombies, actually. It's pretty much kind of just a review of Black Ops 4 as a whole, but pretty much everything else but zombies. So this video is going to be covering multiplayer, Blackout, and the other stuff that Black Ops 4 has to offer. We're going to be talking about that into this video. It's going to be not that long, it's not going to be that in depth, but still, hopefully you guys could drop a like, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so I want to first start with the multiplayer. So, the multiplayer is probably the most controversial thing about Black Ops 4 before the launch. There were so many new changes coming to this mode, and people were very mixed about it. People didn't like the idea of a higher time to kill. People didn't like the idea of a 5v5. People didn't like the idea of the fact that they were recycling so much content. And yeah, this stuff actually ended up working very well in my opinion. After I played the beta, I was very convinced that this was actually going to be a really good multiplayer. They had what made the Black Ops. It had what made Black Ops 3 great. It had like swimming, and it had the specialist weapons, and it had even more specialist weapons than it was in Black Ops 3. Plus, you could have multiple of them at a time, because each specialist has like 2 abilities now instead of 1, which is really nice. While in Black Ops 3, you had to choose which one over the other. The only cost is a lethal equipment, but I think that's completely worth it, especially because the grenade spam in COD World War II is absolutely terrible. I'm more than happy for the fact that people don't run grenades in this game. So, yeah. So yeah, the game ran pretty well during the beta. However, there was a big problem, and that was the significant drop-off that came up during launch. During launch, apparently, the game ran at less hertz than at the beta, which really was just ridiculous, and the connection started to become really bad during that time. So yeah, surprising that the launch actually ended up worse than the beta. Like, worse. Like, that's that's pretty damn surprising there. So yeah, also barely got out of that situation. Oh yeah, I forgot about that game. I was like just a few seconds away from winning that game. But yeah. By the way, gun game is actually really fun in this game. It's nowhere near as good as Black Ops, but I think compared to some of the other recycled gun games in COD, this is definitely one of the better ones. But anyways, I'm back to... I'm digressing too much. I need to get back to the main point. Black Ops 4 multiplayer is good except for one thing. Let me talk about the good first. So, the specialist weapons... Awesome addition. I love the creator class. I love the fact that there's like special attachments for specific weapons. And the maps are also really good. I just wish that there was less like recycled content, but the fact that we have a lot of new maps that are still really good. It's not like the recycled old content is doing that much. Like, it's not replacing that much extra of the new maps, which is nice. So yeah, I'd say my only problems, like little problems, I'd say, are that there's not that many attachments to choose from compared to Black Ops 3, and also there's not that many perks to choose from. I believe there's only like 4 for each like tier, which kind of sucks, especially compared to like the 6 that was in Black Ops 3, and even like in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, there was like pro perks as well, which added even more perk variety. The COD really needs to get back to that. They need to stop doing this where there's like so little perk variety. And the attachments they are for the most part a downgrade from Black Ops 3. I really do like the idea of like grip too, and like the fact that you have like a Mark II of each attachment, and there's some specific weapons that go to those things, and then there's also operator mods, which are kind of like weapon variants in Infinite Warfare, but a lot better than those because they're made for specific weapons, and there's no like stupid supply drops in order to get them. So, yeah, but I just think that there's not enough variety in terms of the Mark II attachments. If there was more potential weapons that could have each of the Mark II attachments, then it would be better. Also, I've also talked about in another video about the black market thing, that whole mess. I'm not gonna cover it in this video because I've already talked about it, but basically, yeah, the black market really sucks in this game. Even though there's no supply drops, the system is debatably even worse. So, yeah, I would say that the main problem, the reason why I've kind of stopped playing Black Ops 4 multiplayer is because of the spawns. The spawns are absolutely god-awful in this game. In fact, they're in team-based matchups, at least. Actually, in free-for-all, they're actually really good. But, well, yeah, and free-for-all gun game, like in this game, those modes are really fun. But in team-based modes, the spawns are absolutely awful. And I can't believe that the developers actually had the audacity to say that this was the game's best spawn system. I cannot believe that this was actually what they intended. The spawns are absolutely awful. It's almost impossible to flip spawns. Sometimes people spawn like right next to you, which can be kind of a good thing or a bad thing, because either you just get free spawn trap kills on them, or you don't even realize you're in a position to spawn trap, because it doesn't make sense that you're in a position to spawn trap, but yet they spawn right on top of you and just completely kill you. I hate it. The spawns in this game almost ruin the entire experience for me, and that's why I've kind of stopped playing. Kill streaks, I haven't really used them that much, to be honest. I haven't had that many high kill streak games, but for the most part, from what I've seen, they're pretty good. They're not as insane as they were in like Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops 2, which I kind of wish they were up to those standards. But you know what, at least it's no COD World War II or Infinite Warfare. At least the streaks are not that bad. The streaks are pretty good and worth getting, so if you are a person who likes going for those high kill streaks, this game will last for you. You're not gonna just be like, oh wow, this game has shitty streaks, now let's go back to the last Call of Duty game that had good streaks. So yeah, this game does have good streaks. I would play this game more if it weren't for the spawns, honestly. I think the spawns are really what ruined the multiplayer for me, and that's why I don't really play it that much. Anyways, let's talk about Blackout. So, Blackout is an interesting mode. I was actually decently hyped for it, because even though I was never really into Battle Royale games, I was never into Fortnite, I was never into PUBG or anything like that, no H1Z1, nothing like that. But I was excited for this game because I was interested to see what Call of Duty could do with the Battle Royale game mode, and I was hoping that that Blackout would solve all the problems that I had with original Battle Royale games, but it didn't. It's still at the end of the day a Battle Royale game. It's actually been very well received from the community, which I'm very happy for. I really like when the community's positive instead of all this like stupid negativity, but I just cannot enjoy this Blackout. Like, I just can't enjoy it. It's too slow for me. The time in between each gunfight for me is just too much, and it makes me just not want to play it, and I just get bored quickly, and it makes me impatient of a player, and then I end up just like charging up and doing stupid shit that is not very good in a Battle Royale mode. You generally want to be kind of like you generally want to be kind of risky, but in this game In Battle Royale games, you can't really do that. You have to be a bit more campy, and I just don't really like that. So yeah, and plus, boosting is something that I've noticed as well. Like, boosting is actually a legitimate thing in this game, and people are AFKing for that stupid ass battle pass thing. So yeah, I hate I hate that. Like at the end of it, I don't know. I just don't really like the blackout mode, but I am glad that everyone else is enjoying it. So yeah, blackout's not really that harmful. I think the only thing that blackout really is doing that wrong right now is just the support. All blackout really gets right now is just like it's just like character skins, and at the end of the day, you can't really compete with like Fortnite and stuff like that if that's all you're going to add. Black Ops 4 really needs to up its tally in terms of the amount of support that's in the game. I get that they're planning it for like a year-long thing, but I think that they also need to focus on getting a bunch of cool content every single week, and a lot of it every single week. And Blackout, there's just not quite that yet. I'm just hoping that, like, just at the beginning there's not going to be that much stuff, and then later on, maybe in like a few weeks, we're going to suddenly see a huge amount of content come every single week, and that's really what's going to be what Blackout needs. Also, it's what Zombies needs as well, because I think that multiplayer is kind of getting the main focus when it comes to the support, and I think that if Call of Duty wants to have like 3 modes that are competitive, they need to make sure that each one is supported to the fullest, because that's what's really going to make Black Ops 4 stand out over other ones. Otherwise, it's just going to seem like just 3 subpar modes instead of just one great mode like Fortnite is. So yeah, that's what they need to do. Also, as you guys know, there's no campaign in Black Ops 4. Treyarch said that they were never working on a campaign, but that is not actually true. They were working on a campaign, but it was cut because apparently there was not enough time, or it was too ambitious, or for some reason it was cut. I'm not sure exactly the reason, but it was cut like in mid-2017. And instead we have these like specialist missions, and these specialist missions are pretty much kind of a mini campaign, so they do kind of give you a little bit of backstory, actually a significant amount of backstory on the actual specialists, which are nice, which actually like makes the multiplayer feel more natural and feels like you actually have more of a purpose, because if you're doing things without like any purpose, it kind of feels like weird. So it's nice to have a little bit support story to go along with the multiplayer. But I think that the problem with them is that they're just the gameplay is just absolutely horrible for them. Like, it's even worse than going through like a campaign. And campaigns are actually pretty fun, but they do get repetitive after a while, which is kind of why you don't really do it more than once, except for campaigns that have like a really strong story. Like those campaigns are like the only ones where I really go back to play multiple times, but I never really play a campaign multiple times just for the gameplay. And these specialist missions are somehow even worse than campaign missions, because at least campaign missions are actually like new areas that you've really never seen before. Actually, in the older CODs, the multiplayer maps and the areas that you'd see in campaign and zombies were actually the same, but now like they're different, which is one thing, overrated thing about the older Call of Duties. But I digress. Basically, the gameplay is just too repetitive, and with this, like, again, there's just the play spaces are literally just multiplayer maps, and that's it. That's what they did in older Call of Duties. Like, Call of Duty's upped its standards since then. They've made it so that multiplayer maps are actually made creatively designed just for that. But when you make a multiplayer map and then suddenly it's like, okay, it's also for this specialist character for some random reason, it's kind of just stupid. But yeah, the actual storyline designs of the specialist characters are interesting enough, and you could argue that that is what a sort of mini campaign should be, so I guess it's fine. So, yeah, that's pretty much the specialist missions. I think Black Ops 4 is overall a really good game. I think it's if you think Call of Duty is at the point where it's kind of dying, then you could say that this game has saved the franchise. The reason why I wouldn't say that, because I don't think that the Call of Duty franchise is at the point of dying, even though a bunch of people say it is, because I actually think two of the three last Call of Duty games were actually pretty good. I actually thought COD World War II was good, and I thought Black Ops 3 was absolutely amazing, but you know, people like to continuously hate. But it's not going to be cool to like those games until a few years down the road when we have other Call of Duties to hate. So yeah, but Black Ops 4 is definitely a great mode, and I think even though they didn't originally intend to remove the campaign, I think removing that campaign and putting in something that didn't take quite as much work to do, I think was overall a good thing for the game, because I think it's going to make people it made people miss campaign, because I think like, there is a quote that someone said, a very popular quote, which is you don't miss things until they're taken away from you. And that's I think the thing with campaign has lost popularity over the years, and I think this kind of was a wake-up call for those people. And so yeah, I think that it's a really good thing. I think it's gonna get people hyped into campaigns again. I think the next potential Infinity Ward game, if it's Modern Warfare 4, I think that campaign is gonna get a lot of hype, and that's why I think this was actually a really good decision for Black Ops 4 not to include a campaign, because most people just go to they go to one mode and just continue to grind on that mode, and this is gonna, not adding the campaign is gonna kind of like make people like reconsider that and go back to what people originally did in the old Call of Duty games, where they'd play the campaign, the multiplayer, and the third game mode. But now people just go and usually play like one game mode or so, and they usually just stick to that one mode. So I think that it's overall a good thing that they didn't add campaign. I think Black Ops 4 is a really good Call of Duty game that I think is going to be remembered for a pretty long time, and I think it was a really interesting test for the developers to see how the community would react to it. But I think it's overall that was a very good payoff. I think they needed to make a Call of Duty that was very risky, and this was exactly that. They took a huge risk with this game, and also my dog is whining at me right now. I'm not sure if you can hear her or not, but yeah, the gameplay blinked out. Anyways, tell me what you think of this in the comments section. See you guys later. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.